Hey, Adam, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I just got the dogs in
Oh, right on.
and sitting down for our visit.
Yeah, cool, man. I
I'm doing
appreciate
okay.
you doing this.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out about this. Adam, where are you?
San Diego. How about you?
Oh, great. I'm in Victoria, Vancouver Island.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
Originally from there?
no, no, I'm not.
No. Where are you from originally?
Um, Adam, I assume we're recording, so I'll just go.
Yeah, we're recording. We're going.
Yeah, I grew up in Saskatchewan. That's the Canadian prairies.
Okay.
Not too far from the border with North Dakota.
Oh,
I
wow.
grew up
Okay.
in a town called Carlisle.
All right.
Yeah, my dad was a car salesman, and then my grandpa was a preacher, and then on my mother's side uh, was a trucker and a writer. So those
Oh,
those those things are kind of have been
well,
passed down to kind of make up who I am in some ways.
sure. I see the writer for sure. The songwriting, obviously. Very cool. How'd you get into music?
Oh, I grew up reading the hymn book when I was a kid and piano music, and then I went to a rural boarding school in Manitoba, like a Christian school, when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went there, and we started a band. They didn't have school band at that thing, so it was a mix of like school band and then getting a guitar. Got a guitar of my own.
How old were you when you got the guitar? About 15?
Probably younger, maybe
Oh,
13.
wow.
My folks got my brother a drum set, but
Ah.
that's when we were pretty young. But he's a daredevil type guy,
Uh,
you know, and I think he was too busy with his on his dirt bike and stuff. Or maybe I just took the drums, which is probably more honest.
sure.
They were for him, but I just took them. And at that time, my folks were building a house, and we were living in a like the old farmhouse, and they were building
Mhm.
a house in front of it. And it was like a modest house. So to have drums in there, like if I played, it would rock the whole
The whole
it would
house.
it would rock the whole little house.
Yeah.
And but I played and played, and they asked me to stop sometimes, but for the most part, I played, like put on Rage Against the Machine or whatever. I just
Rad.
try and learn how to follow along.
Uh-huh. So drums was before guitar then?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for
And
sure.
and then with the drums, did you ever jam? Like, did you ever play with people? Did you start a band, or was the first band later when you're in when you played guitar?
I was in a band. I was in grade 9 or grade 8 maybe, and I played drums in a band with a bunch of grade 12 kids from a different town. So
Oh, interesting.
it was like a town like an hour down the road. And I think I met the guitar player at a golf course or something like that. I can't remember how we met.
Okay.
But so I would take the drums up to that next town,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids were all older than me, right? Like they're seniors, and I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have a mustache. I didn't have nothing going on. I just had my drum set, and
The
so
mustache.
you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like we're going we played like school dances, like a high school dance. There was one in Caryville, which is another rural town. Like all these towns are 800 people, 600
Mm-hmm.
people, 1,000 people. And we played a school dance there, and it got shut down because there was a fight, and the glass got shattered or whatever. And I thought
Oh man.
this is big time like this is a big time gig for me. And I was playing the drums, and I was also singing in that
Oh
band,
my gosh.
but I didn't know any of the words. We're playing Johnny Cash and Nirvana and CCR, and I wasn't raised with this, like music, or
Uh-huh.
especially like CCR, or like anything would be like country, like old classic country.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know that, so I was just making up the words to Have you ever seen the rain?
Just make up stuff until you get to the chorus.
Kind of. Yeah,
That's fun.
that was the first band.
But wow, to play drums and sing at the same time, that's pretty talented to
Especially if
at
it's
that age.
improv. right at him, especially
Yeah,
if it's all improv.
wow.
There was one gig where we were playing at all these small towns. They have like, hot dog days, a strawberry festival,
Oh,
and
sure. Okay.
we were playing at one of those, and our setup, it took like 2 hours to set up. We were sound checking, and then it rained and we never even played. So we sound checked on the main street of this town for 2 hours, just messing around, and didn't get to play.
Didn't get to play the show. Well, at least you got a 2-hour practice at like probably a big stage and a nice sound system.
Yeah, we got to practice tuning our guitars and our drums for 2 hours. And that festival was in my hometown of Carlisle, where they fly an airplane over the downtown, like
wow.
a small airplane, and they drop hundreds or thousands of ping pong balls, and so everyone in the town is on the main street, and the ping pong balls come out of the airplane, and you scatter around to get the ping pong balls, and each one gives you a different discount at a store, to promote the local business. So if you got a blue one or whatever, then you could get 50% off your jeans, or if you got a yellow one, you might get 10% off somewhere.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. That must be crazy looking when all the ping pong balls go flying out of the sky.
Well, it's just a small airplane, so it's just literally like a person with a garbage bag dumping them out the side. So it's not like a big production. It's not like a big deal.
It's not one of those like a fire department plane that drops the water off.
Honestly, I'm sure it was a crop spraying plane. Like just one of the farmers who had someone who had a plane.
Uh-huh.
And then so the people on top of the grocery store trying to get that. It's just an interesting story. Seems like a different time. Maybe they still do it, but.
That's so funny. I wonder if you could find like a video of the thing dropping on YouTube or something. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so from there, you said you went to a Christian boarding school and you started playing in a band there. That's when you got the guitar?
Yeah, I was making up songs. Maybe grade 8 or grade 9, and when I went away to the boarding school, I was in a town called Dauphin, Manitoba.
Uh-huh.
And, that's my folks were 4 or 5 hours away. And it was I'm kind of just going back there in my mind right now. It was kind of a bigger town. Like it had a 7-Eleven, but it wasn't a big city or nothing. So it was still there was a lot of country kids, and then a few international kids who were coming to learn ESL.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that part of my motivation of starting the band was to get to know the people at the school, but also get to know people like at the quote unquote normal high school.
Right. Because
there was about 100 of us in this small Bible school.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this whole new world of the regular high school,
Sure.
And there was a couple punk bands there, and, they played volleyball against each other and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to throw shows in the basement of the town kind of theater. There was a basement room called the Old Fire Hall.
Oh, okay.
It was just a concrete room. We used to throw shows there with, there was the band from the Christian school, and then there was the kind of the D-bag band, which were great. They're doing Limp Bizkit and stuff. And they were covers. Yeah, they were helpful because they brought the crowd, and they had
mm-hmm.
They brought the sound gear lots of the time and legitimized it. And then there was kind of like the skate punk band from the high school. So we kind of just made a bond with people in the town.
Mm-hmm. What, you guys were like a metal sound? Is that what you said?
What were we doing back then? Well, it was kind of screamo, I guess. Like it was kind of math rock. Like during that time, I would have loved there was a band from Toronto called Monine.
Oh, I love Monine. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around that time, just the erratic nature of the songwriting and the heavy, the loud and the quiet,
mm-hmm.
the dynamic of it.
Oh man, are you really happy with Who We Are Right Now? Is like one of my favorite records ever. Like I think that album is so awesome. Not a lot of people know Monine, I feel like.
Yeah, well, to us, they were the thing. Like to
Oh
me, they
man.
were to me they were the thing. Like
Yeah.
the theatrics of it was, so it was so exciting. So we kind of
Yeah.
blended that Monine kind of indie rock, math rock thing with
Mm.
kind of like as I got older in high school with playing metal. So I think at the start it was more traditional in song structure. Like the first songs I wrote were about chatting with girls on the internet and stuff, and they were
Sure.
just like Screeching Weasel
Oh,
or
right. I love Screeching
MXPX
Weasel.
or something with a structure.
Uh-huh.
But then once we got going in metal, the structure went to hell, and it was just about the energy,
Sure. So you had a pretty big metal band, right, at the time, or you started a band that means you guys had like a pretty you put out records and were signed to a label and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. Aaron was my new friend from the normal high school, from the secular high school. I don't know what word.
Okay.
I don't know what word to say. How to say that?
Yeah, like public high school.
Public. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
um, and so when I got to meet Aaron, he became like my best friend. In those years, we liked to. He was a. I was blown away with his drumming. He could do it.
Hmm.
And so we started the band a long time ago. Maybe I was grade 11 or something.
Okay, so you're
And
still in high school or in school at this point when you started that band?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then over the years, we had a couple people come and go, but Todd, Aaron, and Dylan, we traveled as means for I don't know 5 years, and
Wow.
we were full time. Like we did a couple records, and we were doing 150 shows, or I can't remember, but there were like long 3-month tours of playing in church basements in the States, and
Wow.
um, mostly sleep. We had a bunk bed in the back of a Chevy Express van,
Uh-huh.
and so we spent a lot of nights together in the van, and because of our upbringing and common interests, we weren't drinking or running around with, chasing women, or
Right.
it was just kind of us, you know,
Uh-huh.
it was, I'm still learning what that period of time kind of means to me,
Mhm. Sure.
because when we broke up and each went away to do different things, then it became about going to the bars for me.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
changed. It changed. But
Yeah.
that time, like I'm kind of proud. I guess I'm saying I'm proud of like our focus. For
Sure.
right or wrong, if our ideas were great or not, we were we had a lot of passion, and like it really helped me. So I was essentially moshing, jumping up around, and I think that really helped me, in ways I don't
Yeah.
really know yet.
Hmm. And you guys were signed to you were signed to a label. I know Face Down Records was one of the record labels you were signed to, and they're based like just north of me, like 20 minutes
Oh
from
yeah.
where we live in Fallbrook. I thought that was rad that you have that close of a tie to us because they were a pretty small label at the time, right?
Yeah, well, to us, that was a big deal because growing up with like faith hardcore,
Hmm.
that was kind of where we wanted to go.
Yeah, them
That,
and
that
like Tooth and Nail were like the big ones, right? For like the Christian hardcore bands.
right. Once we got there, they were really kind to us and supportive, and gave us the artwork and the touring, and fronted us CDs and stuff for tour support, and
Hmm.
they were really kind to us. I felt as we got going, maybe a couple of years into that scene,
Hmm.
I started to feel a bit of as an outsider in the scene. I didn't want to just play with Christian bands. We also did some tours with other bands, and I felt I started to lose a connection with that Christian scene. We would play festivals where there was um, more hardcore Christian bands, I guess, and I
Hmm.
started to feel very uncomfortable with what they were saying to the audience. and
Oh,
and I just
interesting.
thought, I don't think I want to be associated with this any longer. It's not like
Was it like, was it preachy or was it kind of the opposite of what you think what they would be talking about?
I'm not sure how to describe it. It's just a personal experience for me. I
Hmm.
think especially when it comes to maybe to sex and gender roles and preaching about that. Maybe that was one of the things I was first uncomfortable with.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. It was a profound feeling that, you know what, this is no longer my world.
Sure.
And the guys in the band were really kind to me about that. They didn't ask me to lead us to be more Christian or less Christian.
Mm-hmm.
We just grew together, and then we grew apart. And we had our last show. It was an awesome celebration. I got a picture of it in my house where my wife and I live now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Just a photo from the final show you guys did. And did you know that was going to be it when you played that last show?
Yeah, it was planned.
Okay.
You know, for being young, we were quite intentional with a lot of things we did. You know,
Yeah.
This is going to be our tour. This is going to be our last show. This is going to be our this. And that's kind of interesting to look back on that.
Yeah.
Now I feel like more of a mess.
Well, tell me about the first tour you did with Means. Was that the first tour you had ever done?
Well, yeah, it was. The first one I remember was around, I think it was before 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
We had a burgundy Astrovan and went to, it might have been after I graduated, but I don't remember. It was around grade 12. We had a burgundy Astrovan, went to Ontario. Going to Toronto from Saskatchewan, that's like going to New York City, you know.
Oh, it's a much bigger city.
From Bismarck, North Dakota, or whatever.
Okay, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it was a big deal. We had maps. We had a map book, and we slept in the van most nights. And the funny thing about that tour is we played something like 15 or 20 shows in Ontario.
Wow.
Which is one province, you know, like nowadays, maybe I'd play 4 shows in Ontario or, you know,
okay.
Toronto, Ottawa, maybe some in Northern Ontario, but we just hung around Toronto playing for weeks. But you could play in every YMCA church basement, a couple bars, like every bingo hall, anywhere where there was a hardcore band that there was a leader who wanted to do all ages shows for $8 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it does kind of remind me of my first Northcote tour as well. Like before I was called Northcote, I went on a tour with a band from Regina called the Library Voices.
Okay, that's a cool name. I haven't heard of them. That's a really cool band name.
Yeah, they're a great band. They still perform, and they kind of took me under their wing for a tour of Western Canada. It was 2009 or so, right at the start, before I was called Northcote. And it was a similar tour because there was about 12 of us in one of those big vans with all the gear and merch, and you know, and so it was a similar, like you have to believe in it to do it. You know, I had to believe in it to keep with it, you know.
Sure.
So,
wow. Well, when you just, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm talking a lot, Adam. Will you forgive me?
No, I appreciate it. This is what I want you to do. I always say this. Nobody cares what I have to say.
Well, I'm just noticing like a connection between the first tour in a hardcore band, the first tour as a solo artist. They weren't as different as I thought. Like I was at different times in my life, and I kind of, I was sounding different, but the kind of ethic or the belief was kind of the same. You know, I think it kind of never goes away, kind of in a way. You know, like I would, especially with the virus thing here now, I would do a van tour, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's wild how everything kind of shifted the way it did. When you said you guys played that last planned show for Means, and right away was that when you're like, okay, I already know I want to continue doing this and I'm going to start my own solo project? Or did you take some time and then decide, hey, I need to play?
I was already performing solo from time to time in like little cafes in Saskatchewan. So I had maybe already done 5 or 6 shows, you know.
So you had songs that were just that you were going to play just for yourself.
Yeah, I think that I didn't want to with the hardcore band, I didn't want to have new members and keep it going. I didn't want to be in charge of getting new members and keep it going.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to celebrate the band with my friends who started it,
Mhm.
because I had this other motive of I wanted songwriting, a solo career. I had already
Okay.
started that, and I was looking for approval outside of. I was looking for approval. That's a little strange word, but it's true. I was looking for inspiration outside of the hardcore scene.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to be inspired by indie rock bands. I didn't like. I knew that there was other music out there than hardcore. You know, it'd been
Mhm.
hardcore for so long,
Yeah.
and there was the bands at that time in Saskatchewan were really inspiring to me. Um, like Library Voices,
Uh-huh.
Ghost of Modern Man was probably my favorite. But I started playing shows. I played with like some hip hop artists and stuff too. So
Oh, interesting.
that was where I wanted to go. Like I wanted to discover more that was out there.
Mhm.
You know, so I think that's, if I'm being honest, that's what I was up to. I wanted to go out on my own and, you know, no more church shows and see if my art could kind of run with a different scene.
Sure,
You know?
sure. So you said you were playing coffee shops and stuff. How did you start the touring? Then did you record a record, and then like what was the first thing you did after playing, starting getting your feet wet in the coffee shops?
Well, I had an album called the Emerson Letters. That was when I was in playing metal. But really, when I started for sure was 2009. I put out like an 8-song EP. We recorded that. I recorded that in Regina at a yoga studio.
Oh,
And
interesting. A
yeah,
yoga studio.
yeah, and that I was able to get some legitimacy in my mind to that because I had a mentor named Ian that was helping me as a mentor, kind of with the next steps in my music career.
Hmm.
And he was helping me with releasing the songs, like getting the CDs printed, maybe get a couple tours, you know. So he became my manager.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that was kind of where it started for me. And Adam, what was part of the question? I lost track there.
Oh no, I was just wondering what you did next. Like, you said you recorded an EP. That was kind of my question. Like, what was next from playing in the coffee shops for you as far as the solo career went?
I think around at the start of Northcote, I was playing with a musician named Isla on trumpet. So there's Isla is on the recording,
Hmm.
and Isla and I in that year we played the Regina Folk Festival in Saskatchewan. We flew out to Toronto and played at I think it was Canadian Music Week or North by Northeast or one of those kind of hip festivals for up and coming artists.
Uh-huh.
We played at the Dakota Tavern, and from there, then I just tried to tour as much as I could in Canada. I did 2 or 3 trips a year,
Wow.
and then, but the just kind of, and at that time, my wife and I we were just dating at that time, but we moved to Victoria
Hmm.
from Saskatchewan. So, you know, I was out of the metal band was over and Northcote was starting, and I was starting to get a few gigs, and then we moved to Victoria.
Oh, okay.
And so at that time, I was like, now I'm like I was like a Bible school college dropout, you know, metalhead dropout, kind of just learning how to sing.
Hmm.
And I was working at a restaurant and singing there, and working as a janitor at a casino.
Oh, okay.
That time, kind of the first big breakthrough came a few years later with the self-titled record.
Okay. Tell me about that.
That's when I first started. I think I got some gigs in America, and I got some gigs overseas.
Okay. Wow.
I started to. It was 2013, the self-titled record.
Hmm.
I got married around that time too. We recorded that in Vancouver with Colin Stewart at the Hive. So I think, you know, looking back, that was kind of Colin is one of the leading producers out here on the West Coast in my mind for songwriter stuff, you know.
What has he
So,
produced? Do you know
well,
anything off the top of your head?
yeah, oh, he would kick my butt if I said the wrong people or whatever. But there's a Canadian singer from Vancouver named Dan Mangan,
Uh-huh.
who's an award-winning singer up here and a pretty big leader. I think he's pretty well known around the world too.
Cool. So he produced
And,
him. That's cool.
yeah, and I think he's done lots of work with the New Pornographers.
Oh wow.
Well,
Okay.
And that studio, it wasn't Colin, but they kind of helped birth Japan Droids.
Oh really? I love that band.
So,
Yeah. I've seen them a couple of times actually here in the States.
yeah. So when I got to Colin's place, I felt that like kind of legitimacy that I was looking for coming out of hardcore. I was like, oh, there's the New Pornographers, there's Dan Mangan, Japan Droids, like that. My world was opening up, and from there, I think from there I was able to go full time for a few years because I got more calls for touring and stuff, and that was a really exciting time.
Wow. And then is that like when you played, I'm just looking here, some of my notes, and it looks like you went to, Europe on that record, and you toured here in the States, and it looks like you've toured with like Dave House and Chuck Reagan, like all these legends, of that genre. Like, talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, I think the fact, like getting to play with Chuck was actually like my career's dream.
Really?
I don't want to say that, so, but that's really honest.
I love him. I love him.
So, and then Dave, he has become one of my best friends because of his support and belief in me and all of the experiences we've shared. And so it's strange now that first layer of my dreams have, it's kind of like going to see Colin. I kind of got what I wanted. And then when I got to play with Chuck and Dave, I kind of got another thing that I wanted that I couldn't believe. And so now that I'm older, I'm wondering what's going to happen now. Yeah. I don't really have, like my music career is going to be what it is. Like, it's going to be okay. I'm a really blessed person and lucky, and I love just to sing, honestly, just to sing whenever I can. But now with the new record, I know I'm jumping ahead on you, Adam, but
no,
but getting to sing and do some collaborating with Chuck, that was a big milestone for sure. Because I felt like I was going to be a full-time musician, and I did it for a while,
Yeah. When you played with them, was that on those earlier albums, or was that a little bit later in your solo career?
It was mostly in that sweet spot surrounding the self-titled.
Okay, 2013, right?
15, 16, around there.
So, like, what about Hope Is Made of Steel? What was like the big milestone from that record?
Well, my wife and I moved to Ottawa. We were living in Ottawa when I wrote that.
Okay.
And I wrote that one I rented a studio space in the basement of Irene's Pub.
Okay.
And so you go down the stairs and walk past the kitchen into this back room. And there was a small room with lockers and a few kind of like metal drum sets, with the clear drum skins.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess wait a minute. They're like clear shells. All drum skins are clear.
Clear.
So,
yeah. It's clear
what do
shell
metal drum sets look like? I think the hardware around the toms are really bulky.
Okay.
And they're clear. Anyways, I'm clearly not a drummer anymore. I lost touch. But sometimes I look at a drum set, I'm like, well, that person rocks. Like when they get on a drum set, they are like, they're letting it all out.
Right.
But that writing room it was like Hope Was Made of Steel. I wrote that. The kitchen, what I remember is the kitchen blaring kitchen music. the whole time I'm trying to sit there with my pen and paper.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, you're a strange animal. And I'm like trying to write, so in the back of my mind, I can hear the, kitchen music, which, it's loud. When you work in a kitchen, you crank the music,
Right, right.
Often a lot of 80s and the kind of corny music that's great. And then, so yeah, I wrote the Hope Is Made of Steel was there.
Okay.
Made it there. And, I toured it a little bit. We toured it for a year or two, went back and headlined. I think the milestone, to come back to your question, was headlining in Europe.
Oh, wow.
That
So
happened around then. So I went from supporting. Holy shit, it takes me a long time to get to the point. Hey, Adam.
it's okay, man.
I'm so insecure about starting this, doing interviews for this record, because I'm trying to be more myself, but it takes so much patience from others for me to open up.
You sound great, man. And I really appreciate your story. Like, yeah, this is exactly what I would hope for, to be honest.
Yeah. My wife doesn't listen to this stuff because it's too cringy. Because but she loves me and sees me and supports me for how long it takes for me to get to the point or to answer the question. Like the Hope Is Made of Steel, probably that was headlining in Europe, because I went and supported Dave and Chuck, and then I went back and headlined, and
that's awesome.
It was really great.
That's cool. I did see that you cover like Trusty Chords. That's one of my favorite Hot Water songs. Were you doing that before you played with Chuck?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That the three. I'm trying to think when I first started playing solo. I played Trusty Chords. I got to tour with Chuck. I was playing 59 Sound.
Oh, Gaslight Anthem.
And then I got to do some touring with them.
So wow.
And I was also playing Miss Ohio and by Gillian Welch, but I never got to play with Gillian yet.
Okay.
So it's not totally prophetic, but right. It is interesting to look back on that. What was the core that was around me when I started doing that?
Yeah.
Good question.
Well, I mean, if you covered 59 Sound, got to play with Gaslight Anthem, Trusty Chords, Chuck. What'd you cover from Dave House? Worry?
No, Dave and I, we're friends apart from music, like to the heart. I don't feel like when we hang out, has anything to do with any music industry stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
He doesn't call me up to get a few more ticket sales or whatever, or I don't call him up because I want to, I don't bug him about touring in Scandinavia or something, even though I'd love to go.
Right. Yeah. You don't call him up ask him for favors.
Kind of. Yeah. I'm sure we do that. Like, I'm sure we do that, but I think
it's not only that.
Yeah, it is about the music, like it's centered on the music, but it's more, like I go down and see them for fun, like I don't just go down to play shows with them. Like I would, I've gone down for special events and things. So that's a friendship that's gone beyond music.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool to have that. I mean, I wonder, growing up, you probably had you would have never thought one day you're going to be able to tour and, befriend some of these people that you looked up to and listened to growing up.
Yeah, well, I've been really blessed that way and privileged that, I've never been lazy with my music. I've always, in my marriage, I've always worked a job when we had to, when I had to, and I've always done my best to, I have struggled with some addiction and some bad habits and depression, but I've always tried to, make good efforts on my good fortune. You know what I'm saying?
No, totally.
Like my wife has given me the chance to stick with it and have longevity, And then same with my folks, especially nowadays that we've kind of, I've personally have grown through a more of a rough patch where I was searching. And now I can look back and say thank you to everyone who supported me, you know?
I love that.
So, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is I am so lucky, and I don't want to take that for granted or be a dick about it.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So
that kind of, I mean, doesn't that kind of fall into what this new record is kind of about? Doesn't that kind of go through those phases of your career and your life a little bit?
I think so. It's maybe not on purpose, but I think it will, like looking back on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me about the new album.
Well, after Hope is Made of Steel, I was painting houses. I was working as a house painter, and I started turning down some tours because I wanted to focus on writing, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Some people were calling me, and I thought, I got to focus on writing. And then like 2 or 3 years passed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's not like I regret that, but it's interesting to notice that. And that time, man, I was in the bars a lot, and I was really trying hard to come up with songs, and I was writing political songs, and like but I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel like a natural voice. And so then I had a couple of different jobs. We moved back to Victoria, and I found a day job that I have now that I really like. And that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of hit like a moment of truth for me. Well, I was waking up a lot in our apartment now. It's a 1-bedroom, but we have our bed for a while there. We had our bed out in the living room, and the 1-bedroom was my office.
Oh, okay.
Or my jam spot or whatever.
Right.
So that should show you how lucky I am, right? We sleep out in the living room.
And you get the jam and you're in the bedroom area.
Really lucky, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Really thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But what started happening was I would have these long days of searching and trying to write it, just working my ass off mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blending all that with addiction and avoidance. And I would wake up, you know, on the floor of my office, like, what did I do yesterday? Where am I? Like, and so eventually I was like, I'm going to go get a little help. You know, my wife said, you know, you should do something for yourself. You know, tell someone about this and don't hide any longer. You know, don't sleep in your office and wake up on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And
it kind of a breaking point came for us too in that way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so she kind of just supported me to seek some healing. And I went to talk to some people about it at this, there's a thing on Gabriola Island where they do classes. And so I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was 5 days. And I learned a lot there. They did lots of exercises to ways to communicate, listen. You know, that one thing that I remember most is that things that have happened to me are kind of in my body causing pain because I had some back pain. And
yeah.
So to talk about things that in my experiences, it for me is a way of letting go of some of this pain that has been bothering me, you know? And so after I came home from those 5 days, I just pulled together the music in like 2 or 3 weeks. And
wow.
It was just because I was giving myself permission to just pull together all of those thoughts from those 2 or 3 years that felt comfortable. Everything that felt kind of comfortable, I just followed it. And we made the record. I didn't know if I was going to have a record label or any money or an agent or anything like that. I just wanted to do it. Like I just wanted to go record.
Right.
You know, because I was ready. I was ready to sing again. Like I had been hiding so long, you know, like this with my dukes up. And and I was just ready to sing. So we got a studio on Gabriola, the same island. There's my friend Ray Spoon, they suggested I go there. There's a little cabin behind the studio on Gabriola Island. And they've got TV, but no cell service. So me and me and the band just went there, and we got to just visit, and catch up, because I had been away working on my own shit for so long. We had lost touch a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made the record, and then that was I don't know, 14 months ago. So it's been a long journey leading up to its release, because I had to get the money back and work to how the songs were going to come out, and then there was the virus and stuff. So
Yeah. So you have a full band on the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the songs, I write them at home on my desk, like where I'm sitting right now. Now the desk is out in the big room here. As you
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is a podcast, right? So folks can't see.
Well, we put the video up also, so they'll be able to see, unless you don't want the video.
That's all right. It's better enough for me not to have known that, maybe. I would have got insecure. But yeah, this is the big room, right? Like where I was telling you where the bed was in here before, and my office is back through those doors.
Okay.
Beside the kitchen. So wait a minute. I lost track. What was the question, Adam?
I just asked if you play with a full band when you record.
Yeah, I usually write the songs here by myself, and then when I went to the studio, I guess I produced the record. So I produce with others' input.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike and I will work on the drum feel. Eric will come up with the bass track, and his touch is really tasteful. It's really simple, and Eric is really good at arranging.
Uh-huh.
And then Stephen, I kind of let him on his own. But him and I, we've done so many duo tours and jams together, and that we can almost just kind of look at each other and know that the guitar spot is in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
At times. Sometimes it doesn't work all the time, but
sure.
Sometimes with Stephen, I forgot something about that process. Before we went to Gabriola, I rented a jam room in Victoria for maybe it was like $100 for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And him and I went there, and I brought like 30 or 50, 30 songs or something, and I printed them out on printer paper, and I had a music stand, and we just went through them. I just played them for Stephen. It was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how this one goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm singing it to the PA. We're set up like it's a show.
Sure.
We get about a minute or two into the song idea, and if I didn't feel like it was landing, I just go to the next one.
Oh, interesting.
And go to the next one. So it's almost like he's editing. I'm feeling
in real time. Yeah, kind of see if you think it's gonna work, and if not, you're like, okay, well, we'll ditch that one.
Yeah, it's like I was like trusting the energy in the room with Stephen and I to bring testing the credibility of the song, if it has the spirit and connection kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's how I brought the 14 songs. And Stephen's he was just playing along, trying to learn the chords. It's not like he wasn't like, that song is bad, that song is good.
Right.
He's just kind of learning the chords. So I rely on him. I find that kind of interesting. I wanted to tell you about that.
Wow. So you had 30 to 50 songs, and you were able to narrow down what will be on the record just by doing that. So you're like, okay, we got 14 now.
Yeah, kind of. That's what. And so I sent like a sketch of the song to the guys. We went to the studio without even rehearsing. That's what you hear. That's what you're going to hear on the record.
Wow. You've put out like 4 songs this year. Are all of those going to be on the album? Looks like Dancers and Queens, Broken Halos, Keep On Saying Goodbye, and 9 to Midnight. Are all those going to be on the new record?
They will all be on the record except for Broken Halos. That's a song. That's a song I didn't write. So that's a cover song that I did during the intense times of quarantine.
Okay.
Like when, because I don't know how it is in San Diego, but here there was that first month where we really, like, I didn't do anything. I mean,
we're still all stuck inside here in San Diego for the most part.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, the numbers keep going up. They went down, and now they're skyrocketing back. So at least all of California still is kind of shut down. Which is
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's a bit wild, but hopefully sooner than later it'll all kind of let up here, and we can get out and go to shows and do all that stuff. But like some of the outdoor activities are open now, like the animal parks and anything kind of outdoors. But you can't go and sit in a restaurant and eat right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, so that cover you did was just you just decided on that due to what was going on as far as quarantine.
Yeah, it was during quarantine. I was thinking of starting to work on the next record.
Oh, wow.
What I decided I was going to learn like 20 songs and like 20 cover songs just to kind of get inspired, loosen up my muscles and chops for going back to songwriting. Plus, I can't jam with. I'm anticipating. At the time, I was anticipating I wouldn't be able to jam with friends. So I thought, okay, here we go. Sheryl Crow, Chris Stapleton, everything I can think of.
Right.
Do 20 songs to try and loosen up. And I sent a couple of them to Ian, my manager, mentor from way back, because we're still working together. And he said, you should really think of sharing that Chris Stapleton song.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did. That's the
that's
the story.
Broken Hills. Very cool. Yeah. Wow. And then, so tell me about the new record. When is the new record coming out? Do you have a release date for it yet?
Yeah, we do. I just saw an email about it yesterday, actually. I think it's October, like the second week of October.
Okay. And in the meantime, I saw that you've been doing some live streams on Instagram. Tell me a little bit about that. You have got like an open mic night thing you're doing?
Yeah. It's every Thursday. I kind of bring my inspiration from the week to the group. I play I'll take requests and play some Northcote songs that people might want to hear. And then I also might play here's a couple favorites from this week for me, or and then I share a story or something that might be inspiring me or a thought, so it's kind of like a house show,
That's cool. You just do it in your where you are in your living room right there?
Yeah, I'm using Brittany's computer today for our visit, but usually when for the open mic, I use the hair ties and put the phone around her water bottle. I heard about that from Donovan Woods, who's a Canadian songwriter that I look up to. And so I heard
that's a brilliant idea.
That's how he did. That's what he did. So he puts the phone, in here, and then I can look back at the phone.
Oh, wow.
Put on a stack of books.
The tricks of the trade. There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool, man. Well, so you have another one happening. Did you do one last night?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It was called Two Songs. So we've done like 16 of these now.
Wow.
I took a week off for reflection and kind of out of respect for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Sure.
But other than that, we've been doing one each week. We had two guests so far for more conversational style interviews about art and social justice.
Uh-huh.
We've been going through. Last night, two songs was a bit more improvised than planned, I must admit.
Okay.
But I put them up on the IGTV so people can, check the set list if something is interesting to them.
Yeah,
they can check it out. I've done Selena Gomez a couple weeks ago. Smokey Robinson, soul music to pop to New Order.
Oh, cool.
So there's a lot of. For me, it's a way of coming back to that theme of bringing variety to that we've talked about at the start of the conversation. Is just more and more variety is what I need to connect to music.
And are you playing songs from the new record as well, like testing them out, or?
Yeah, totally, and sharing some unreleased songs that won't be on the record.
Cool.
For the record that's coming in October. The recording session we did 14 songs and one instrumental.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
But the record is going to be about half that in length. So we have all of this extra songs that I don't know what we're going to do with yet. So I've been sharing them a little bit piece by piece too, just as a wink and a nod to the cool people in our little house show circle.
That's cool. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Matt. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam, for reaching out for me and for your patience. I'm trying to take the lead, but this is the most I've talked in a long time.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to sit and hang with me and chat with me. I really appreciate it. I have one more question. If you feel like talking a little bit longer, sure. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
To an aspiring artist. Oh, that's a good question. Well, let me think about, since I talked to you about my journey when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
What would I tell? I think I would tell that younger version of myself not to worry about looking cool or a certain way, but just to write as much as you can and be authentic. Bring me back